Welcome to my channel. This is Sheree's World, where we talk all things chronic illness. This is the first filming, and I wanted to get the information out to you. So if everything's not perfect or there are a few please forgive me for it. What was most important to me is filming and getting the information to you where we can start to talk about, everything pertaining to thriving and not just surviving with chronic illness. I really wanted to provide information about what I'll be putting out regarding this channel and some of the background of my chronic illness and some of the things that I've been through and how I help to thrive and not survive by the use of alternative treatments and supplements, and along with some other things. And so we'll talk about some of the symptoms I've had, some of the diagnoses. I have actually had 23 diagnoses over the course of 24 years. Yes, that sounds like a lot. It is a lot. It's more than I can even want to think about, and I'm sure it's more than you can process just even listening to it. Receiving a diagnosis is not easy. I understand that fully, and sometimes other people don't understand exactly what you're going through, which is part of the reason why I created this channel. You're not alone in this battle. You're not alone in this fight, and we're going to talk about some things, and hopefully you can send some emails and ask some questions, and even provide some information down in the chat for other people to come back and read and learn, and make this a learning and sharing community with one another, where we can start to accomplish thriving and not just surviving within our illness. So with that, let me give you just a little bit of history about how I ended up with autoimmune disease, which sometimes I call it the invisible illness because other people don't see it, right? So they don't understand what you're going through. They don't see a broken leg or arm, or you're struggling to get around sometimes. And so to other people, it's invisible, but to you, it's very real. You're the one suffering with the symptoms and the things and the issues that it's caused you to feel the way that you feel. So I totally get that and understand. And sometimes you can even be discriminated against because of that, or sometimes your symptoms can even be dismissed by people or doctors because of it. So I get it. But how it all started for me was 24 years ago. I gave birth to my son, and I woke up the next morning with a debilitating disease called sarcoidosis. Now, at the time, I didn't know that's what my diagnosis was. I woke up with this enlarged face, which were and I'll probably say this wrong, pineal glands here. And I looked like Elephant Man or something. It looked really weird. And I went home thinking that it was just pregnancy. I thought, oh wow, this is a rough pregnancy. I was 27 years old. I didn't really know how to pay attention to my body and understand that it wasn't normal. It was my first pregnancy. So I got home, and after about 2 weeks, I started to lose my eyesight gradually, where I literally couldn't barely see the skin of my son, my newborn baby. And so I thought, oh, this pregnancy must really be rough. So let me go to a vision place and get some glasses. I must need glasses now. Well, I got to the vision place and they said, oh ma'am, we can't help you. This is something more than glasses. There's something in the back of your eyes and we don't know what it is. You have to go see a ophthalmologist. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, well, what does this mean? They say you have some type of disease. We don't know what it is though. So I went to the hospital in Chicago and went to see an ophthalmologist. And mind you, this was 24 years ago. And so they didn't know exactly what was wrong. And all of a sudden I started seeing all these doctors, and it took them almost 2 months to actually diagnose me. At the time, my legs were really scarred up and raw. You could barely touch them. They looked like alligator scales all over my legs. And I thought that too must have been something with the pregnancy. And now I know more to pay attention to my body and understand that those things just aren't normal with a pregnancy. But a dermatologist actually came and did a biopsy, and from the biopsy he was able to tell me that I had sarcoidosis. Not only did I have sarcoidosis, but I had one of the rarest forms of sarcoidosis, which was Hodgkin's or I'm about to say Hodgkin's lymphoma, but it's one of the rarest forms of sarcoidosis, which included multiple systems of your body. And so they figured that I would eventually progress to have it in my lungs. And eventually it did. It progressed, and then I had fibrosis in my lungs, and now they call it interstitial lung disease is what I have. So that's what started my journey of sarcoidosis. But with that, it also started my journey of 80 milligrams of prednisone. Yes, I know if you understand prednisone, then you understand the battle that is. So, and yes, prednisone wreaked all kind of havoc on my body, and that I'm even dealing with today, of course, because there was a lot of prednisone. And guess what? I was on prednisone for 18 years straight, not one break. Okay, so we will talk about that in some of the future episodes, and what prednisone will do to your body, and why you do not want to be on prednisone for an extended period of time. Prednisone will make you feel wonderful. I mean, I feel like I can fly on prednisone. However, it's just not a good medication to be on for long term, and it can cause a lot of damage in the body. So that's what actually started my chronic disease journey. And of course, from that day forward, my entire life was changed as a 27-year-old brand new mother. I didn't know at the time that this was going to be some lifelong thing that I had to deal with and learn to cope with, and battle for a very long time, and all of the things that it would do to my body. And so that was a difficult journey, and I definitely love to talk about some of that in some of the future episodes, and mental health and what chronic illness can actually do to your mental health, and how you have to change some of the things that you do, but at the same time, you don't have to give up who you are. The diagnosis does not have to become you, and so it does not define you. And so I had to learn to not allow my diagnosis to define me. I had to learn how to live my life still with joy, even though things were different, right? And so some of the other diagnoses that I received, if I can get the list correct on here, it's lupus, Sjogrens. I was diagnosed ADHD, depression, connective tissue disease. I had pulmonary hypertension. I've already told you about all of the lung problems, uveitis in my eyes. And that's just to name a few. The list goes on. It finally, to one point before I relocated to Texas in 2018, they told me that I was going to need a double lung transplant. Right. I'll have to tell you how that went. That's an interesting story. That was devastating, but it was also the turning point in my life when I said something's got to give and something's got to change. And so we will talk about all the things that I was able to do, the great doctors that I met going forward, integrative medicine doctors that helped change my life, and some of the paths that I took and interventions that I took in order to live with more vitality than I was living. So we'll talk about that. I just wanted to really come on here and to give you some history about some of the chronic illnesses I had, and how I was diagnosed with those 23 different autoimmune disorders. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention Hashimoto's thyroiditis, from hyperthyroidism to hypothyroidism, and Graves' disease is included in that list. So once again, I told you this video, I just wanted it to be real. I didn't want it to be studio perfect. I just wanted to come on here, provide the information so that we can begin to dive deep into what we can do to thrive and not survive. I did publish a book. It became live on Amazon, where it is called Breathe, Believe, and Live Beyond the Diagnosis. And I talk about some strategies to help manage your chronic illness. And so if you get a chance, go on Amazon, look it up. The name is Tondela Stroud, and I promise you, I have a resource of information in the back of the book that will help you, as well as a search for how to search for functional medicine doctors, as well as supplementations for different conditions. Now remember, I am not a doctor. These are just things that I did. So if you walk away with some things that help, that's great. Just remember, this is my opinion. I'm not a doctor. Anything you need to see your doctor about and see a professional, so that, they are the ones that's managing your health condition. I'm just here telling my story, okay? And I just hope that it helps somebody along the way. So with that, please make sure you subscribe, like, and ring that bell, okay, notification, so that people can find us and we can easily search within the YouTube world, okay? Well, I hope that you were able to get some bit of information from this video and that you'll come back and visit us soon. And once again, thanks for visiting Sheree's World.